Beloved brethren, listen closely. This message is not sluche, it's divine. There are moments in life when everything feels quiet, when prayers seem unanswered, when the weight of waiting presses heavily on your heart. But what if I told you that in this very moment, God is not silent. He is strategic. You've endured a long season of testing, and not just for a moment, not just for a few difficult days, but for what felt like an endless stretch of time. There were nights when you questioned everything, when your prayers seemed to echo back in silence, and when the weight of waiting felt heavier than the trial itself. Yet even in those moments, something within you refused to completely let go of God. That quiet persistence, that fragile but unbroken faith, is more powerful than you realize. There were seasons when you gave your best and still saw no results. You remained faithful even when doors stayed closed. You chose integrity, even when compromise seemed easier. And in those hidden moments, when no one was watching and no one applauded, God was shaping your character. The Bible reminds us that trials are not meant to destroy us, but to refine us, like gold tested in fire. What you went through was not wasted, it was preparation. You may have felt overlooked, forgotten, or even abandoned at times. Like Joseph in the pit, you wondered how something so painful could be part of God's plan. But what looked like rejection was actually redirection. Every delay, every disappointment, every tear was positioning you for something greater than you could have imagined. God was not denying you, He was developing you. In that long season of testing, you learned things that comfort could never teach you. You learned how to pray when words were hard to find. You learned how to trust God when circumstances made no sense. You discovered a deeper relationship with Him, not based on blessings, but on belief. That kind of faith is rare, and it carries weight in the spiritual realm. There were times when you felt like giving up, when quitting seemed like the only relief, but somehow you kept going. Not because you were always strong, but because God's strength carried you when yours ran out. The Bible says His grace is sufficient, and you lived that truth. Even at your lowest, you were being sustained by something greater than yourself. What you didn't see during that season was how God was working behind the scenes. While you were waiting, He was aligning things. While you were struggling, He was building endurance within you. While you were being tested, He was preparing the exact blessing that would match the strength He was growing in you. Nothing about your journey was accidental. Now, as you look back, you may begin to realize that you are not the same person you used to be. You've grown stronger, wiser, and more grounded in faith. The things that once shook you no longer have the same power. The fear that once controlled you has loosened its grip. That transformation is evidence that your season of testing had a purpose, and that purpose is now being fulfilled. So don't despise the season you've come through. It was painful, yes, but it was also necessary. Because God does not bring someone into abundance without first preparing them to handle it. And the truth is, if you've endured this long season of testing and you're still standing, still believing, still holding on, then you are closer than ever to the breakthrough you've been waiting for. There was a time when you prayed with all your heart for certain doors to open. You asked God for specific opportunities, relationships, and outcomes, believing with full faith that they were meant for you. You invested your hopes into them, imagining how your life would change if only those doors would finally open. In those moments, it felt like those very things were the answer to your prayers. But now, something unexpected is happening. Those same doors are closing. Not slowly, not gently, but firmly. And if you're honest, it's confusing. It doesn't match the vision you once held. It doesn't align with the prayers you once cried out. And deep inside, you may be asking, God, why would you remove what I thought you were giving me? What you must understand is this: not every open door is from God, and not every closed door is a loss. Sometimes God allows you to desire something so you can grow through the process, but He never intended for it to be your final destination. What feels like rejection is often divine protection in disguise. The Bible reminds us in Proverbs that there is a way that seems right to a person, but in the end, it leads elsewhere. In your limited view, those doors looked perfect. They seemed aligned, promising, and full of potential. But God sees beyond the surface. He sees the long-term impact, the hidden dangers, and the paths that could pull you away from your true purpose. When God closes a door you once begged Him to open, it's not because He's ignoring you, it's because He's redirecting you. He's saying, I heard your prayer, but I also see what you cannot. Trust me. And that kind of trust is not easy. It requires surrender. It requires letting go of your plans and accepting that God's plan is higher, even when it's unclear. There is also a deeper transformation happening within you. The things you once chased so desperately may no longer carry the same weight in your heart. God is shifting your desires, aligning them with His will. What you thought you needed is being replaced with what He knows is better for you. That internal shift is a sign of spiritual growth. Sometimes we hold on to doors simply because of the time, energy, or emotion we've invested in them. We think, I've come this far, I can't let go now. But God is not bound by your past investment. He is focused on your future purpose. Closing that door is His way of freeing you from something that cannot carry you where you're meant to go. It's also important to realize that closed doors create space. Space for new opportunities, new blessings, and new directions that you may have never considered before. If those old doors had remained open, they might have distracted you from something far greater that God has prepared ahead. In the Bible, we see this pattern again and again. What looks like an ending is often the beginning of something greater. When one path closes, God is already establishing another. And unlike the doors you once begged for, the ones God is preparing now will not require you to force your way through. They will open with peace, clarity, and confirmation. So instead of mourning what has closed, begin to trust what is unfolding. Even if you don't fully understand it yet, believe that God is not taking something away without replacing it with something better. His plans are not to harm you, but to give you hope and a future. The doors are closing not to punish you, but to position you. Not to limit you, but to lead you into abundance. And one day, you will look back and thank God for every door that didn't open, because they led you exactly where you were meant to be. There is a kind of peace that doesn't make sense to the natural mind, a calm that settles in your heart even when your circumstances remain unclear. It's not the kind of peace the world offers, which depends on everything going right. This peace shows up in the middle of unanswered questions, unfinished stories, and uncertain outcomes. And somehow, despite everything, you feel steady. You look around at your situation, and logically, you know you should be worried. There are things unresolved, doors not yet opened, and prayers still waiting for answers. In the past, this would have overwhelmed you. Anxiety would have taken control, and fear would have dictated your thoughts. But now, something is different. Instead of panic, there is stillness. Instead of fear, there is trust. You can't fully explain it, and you don't even try anymore. It's as if something deep within your spirit is whispering, everything is going to be okay. Not because you see the outcome, but because you sense the presence of God. The Bible speaks about this kind of peace in Philippians 4:7, describing it as a peace that surpasses all understanding. That means it goes beyond logic, beyond reasoning, beyond what can be explained. It guards your heart and your mind, even when life feels unpredictable. What you are experiencing is not ordinary. It is spiritual. This peace is a sign that God is near, not distant, not silent, not absent, but actively present in your life. Even if you don't see visible changes yet, His presence is enough to calm the storm within you. And sometimes, that inner calm is the first evidence that something divine is unfolding. There was a time when uncertainty would have shaken you. You needed answers immediately. You needed clarity before you could rest. But now, you're learning to rest even without knowing. That is growth. That is maturity in faith. It means you are no longer relying on your own understanding, but leaning into something greater. This peace is also a form of assurance. It's God's way of telling you, I've got this. Even when the path ahead is unclear, this peace becomes your anchor. It keeps you grounded when everything else feels unstable. It reminds you that you are not walking through this season alone. What's remarkable is that nothing external may have changed yet. The same challenges may still be there. The same waiting period may still be ongoing. But internally, something has shifted. And that internal shift is powerful because it changes how you respond to everything around you. Instead of reacting with fear, you respond with faith. Instead of rushing ahead, you move with patience. This peace slows you down in the best way possible. It keeps you from making impulsive decisions driven by anxiety. It allows you to wait on God's timing without feeling pressured. This kind of peace is also protective. It guards your thoughts from spiraling into negativity. It shields your heart from being overwhelmed by doubt. Even when negative thoughts try to enter, they don't stay long, because this peace stands as a barrier, reminding you of God's control. You may not realize it, but this peace is also preparing you for what's ahead. God doesn't release greater blessings into a heart that is constantly anxious and unsettled. He first establishes peace within you so that when the blessings come, you can receive them with clarity and gratitude instead of fear. It's important to recognize that this peace didn't come from nowhere. It was cultivated through your journey, through your prayers, your surrender, your moments of weakness, and your decision to keep trusting God even when it was hard. This peace is the result of a relationship, not a coincidence, and even when waves of doubt try to return, this peace remains. It may be challenged, but it is not easily shaken, because it is not built on circumstances, it is built on God's presence. And what God gives cannot be easily taken away. So if you find yourself feeling calm in the middle of uncertainty, don't question it. Don't overanalyze it. Embrace it. It is a gift. It is a sign that God is working in ways you cannot yet see. It is evidence that something greater is being prepared for you. Hold on to this peace. Let it guide you, strengthen you, and remind you that you are exactly where you need to be, because sometimes, before God changes your situation, He changes your spirit. And that unexplainable peace you feel right now, it's proof that He already has everything under control. There is something deeply powerful about a faith that continues to grow, even when life refuses to move at the pace you hoped for. Delays have a way of testing the very core of your belief. They stretch your patience, challenge your expectations, and force you to confront the question, do I still trust God when nothing is happening? And yet, here you are, still believing. At one point, you thought faith would be easier if things happened quickly. You assumed that if God answered your prayers right away, it would strengthen your confidence in Him. But instead, you found yourself in a place where answers take time, where progress feels slow, and where waiting has become part of your daily life. In the beginning, those delays were frustrating. You questioned the timing. You wondered if you had done something wrong. You compared your journey to others and asked why things seemed to come easier for them. It felt like you were being left behind while everyone else moved forward. But something began to shift within you. Instead of allowing delays to weaken your faith, they started to deepen it. You began to realize that faith is not proven when everything is going right. It is revealed when everything is uncertain. And in that uncertainty, your roots started growing deeper. The Bible shows us that delays are often part of God's divine process. Abraham waited years for the promise of a son. David was anointed king long before he ever sat on the throne. Even in these stories, the waiting was not wasted, it was necessary. And just like them, your delay is not denial. As time passed, your prayers began to change. Instead of asking only for results, you started asking for strength. Instead of demanding immediate answers, you began seeking understanding and peace. Your relationship with God became less about what He could give you and more about who He is. There is a maturity that comes from waiting. It teaches you discipline, patience, and perseverance. It strips away the need for instant gratification and replaces it with a steady trust in God's timing. You begin to understand that what God is building in you is just as important as what He is preparing for you. In the waiting, you also discover a deeper dependence on God. When things are delayed, you can no longer rely on your own plans or timelines. You are forced to surrender control and trust that God sees the bigger picture. That surrender is not weakness, it is strength. Your faith is no longer based on feelings. There are days when you don't feel strong, when you don't feel confident, when doubt tries to creep in. But even on those days, you choose to believe. That choice, to keep trusting despite how you feel, is what makes your faith stronger. You've also learned that delays often come with lessons. There are things God is teaching you now that you wouldn't have learned if everything had happened quickly. He is shaping your character, refining your intentions, and preparing you for responsibilities you may not yet fully understand. It's easy to trust God when everything is clear, but real faith is built when the path ahead is uncertain. And right now, even without full clarity, you are still walking forward. That is evidence of growth. That is proof that your faith is evolving. There were moments when you thought about giving up, moments when you felt tired of waiting, tired of hoping, tired of believing, but something inside you kept pushing you forward. That something is not just determination. It is the Spirit of God strengthening you from within. You are no longer the same person you were when this journey began. Back then, delays would have shaken you more deeply. Now, while they still challenge you, they no longer define you. You've become more resilient, more grounded, and more anchored in your faith. Your perspective has also changed. Instead of seeing delays as obstacles, you are beginning to see them as preparation. You understand that God is not withholding from you, He is working on you. And that work takes time. There is also a quiet confidence growing within you. It's not loud or boastful, but it's steady and firm. It says, even if it takes longer than I expected, I trust that God will fulfill His promises. That kind of confidence cannot be taught overnight. It is developed through experience. You've started to celebrate small signs of progress. Where before you only focused on the final outcome, now you recognize the little ways God is moving in your life. These small moments become reminders that He has not forgotten you. In this season of delay, your faith is becoming less conditional. You're no longer saying, I'll trust God if this happens. Instead, you're saying, I trust God no matter what happens. That shift is powerful because it places your faith in God's character rather than your circumstances. You are also learning the value of patience, not the kind of patience that simply waits, but the kind that remains hopeful, expectant, and peaceful while waiting. This patience is shaping your spirit in ways that will benefit you for the rest of your life. Even though you don't have all the answers yet, you have something greater. You have trust, and trust allows you to rest, even in the middle of uncertainty. It allows you to move forward without fear controlling your decisions. So if your faith is growing stronger despite the delays, take it as a sign that God is doing something deep within you, a sign that you are being prepared for something greater than you imagined. Because when the answer finally comes, your strengthened faith will allow you to handle it with wisdom, humility, and gratitude. There comes a moment in your journey when things begin to shift, subtly at first, almost unnoticeably. After a long season of waiting, praying, and enduring, you start to see small changes. Opportunities that once felt distant begin to draw closer. Connections that once seemed unlikely begin to form. It's not loud or dramatic, but it's real. Something is aligning. At first, you may question it. You may wonder if it's just coincidence or temporary progress. After all, you've been through seasons where things seemed promising, only to fall apart. But this time feels different. There's a quiet consistency, a steady movement that wasn't there before. You begin to notice that the right conversations are happening at the right time. People are entering your life who understand your vision, who speak your language, and who carry something that complements what God has placed inside you. These are not random encounters. They are divinely orchestrated connections. In the past, you may have tried to force things to happen. You reached out, pushed doors, and tried to create opportunities through your own effort. But now, things are coming together with less struggle. There is a natural flow replacing forced effort. That's a sign that God is involved. The Bible reminds us that God orders the steps of the righteous. That means every step you are taking right now is being guided, even if you don't fully realize it. The people you meet, the ideas you receive, the paths you cross, they are all part of a greater plan unfolding. You may also notice that opportunities are appearing in areas you didn't expect. Doors you never knocked on are opening. Paths you never considered are becoming available. This is how God works. He often exceeds our expectations by taking us beyond what we originally imagined. There is also a sense of timing that feels precise. Things are not happening too early or too late. They are happening right when they need to. Conversations happen at the exact moment they are needed. Opportunities arrive just as you are ready to receive them. This kind of timing is not accidental. As these connections begin to align, you may feel a renewed sense of purpose. It's as if everything you've been through is starting to make sense. The struggles, the delays, the lessons, they are all connecting to what is happening now. Nothing was wasted. You are also becoming more aware of who belongs in your life and who doesn't. Alignment brings clarity. You begin to recognize which relationships are meant to grow with you and which ones were only temporary. This discernment is a gift, and it protects your peace. Some of these new connections may challenge you. They may push you to think differently, to grow, and to step outside your comfort zone. But instead of resisting, you find yourself embracing it. Deep down, you sense that these people are part of your next level. There is also a shift in your confidence, not arrogance, but assurance. You begin to trust that you are in the right place, at the right time, doing the right things. This confidence comes from seeing how God is aligning things in your favor. You may find that ideas begin to flow more easily. Creativity increases, solutions come quicker. It's as if your mind is being open to new possibilities. This is part of the alignment. God is not only arranging things around you, but also activating things within you. In this season, it's important to stay attentive. Alignment requires awareness. You must be willing to recognize the opportunities when they come and have the courage to step into them. Some doors will open quietly, and you must be ready to walk through them. At the same time, you are learning not to rush. Just because opportunities are appearing doesn't mean you have to take every single one. Discernment remains important. Not every good opportunity is a God opportunity. Stay grounded in prayer and wisdom. There is also a sense of acceleration. Things that once took a long time are now happening more quickly. Progress that felt slow is now gaining momentum. This acceleration is a sign that you are stepping into a new season. You may also notice that past efforts are starting to bear fruit. Seeds you planted long ago through hard work, faith, and perseverance are now beginning to grow. What once seemed forgotten is now producing results. In this alignment, there is also restoration. Some opportunities may come back in a new and better form. Things that didn't work out before may return, but this time with clarity, maturity, and proper timing. There is a growing sense of gratitude within you. As you see things coming together, you begin to appreciate the journey more deeply. You realize that if things had happened earlier, you may not have been ready. You are also becoming more intentional. Alignment brings focus. You start to prioritize what truly matters and let go of distractions. Your energy is no longer scattered. It is directed. The people coming into your life may also bring confirmation. They may speak things you've been praying about, affirm things you've been sensing, and encourage you in ways that feel deeply personal. These confirmations strengthen your faith. There is also a sense of peace accompanying this alignment. Even as things move forward, you don't feel overwhelmed. Instead, you feel steady and grounded. This peace is a sign that you are walking in God's will. As opportunities and connections align, you may find yourself stepping into roles or spaces that once felt out of reach. And yet, now they feel right. Not because you suddenly became perfect, but because you have been prepared. You are also learning the value of collaboration. You realize that you don't have to do everything alone. The right connections bring support, wisdom, and shared vision. Together, you can accomplish more. There is a sense that doors are opening not just for you, but through you. The blessings coming into your life are not meant to stop with you. They are meant to impact others as well. Your alignment has a greater purpose. You may also experience moments of awe, times when you pause and realize this could only be God. The precision, the timing, the connections, it all points to something greater than yourself. In this season, humility remains important. As things align, it's easy to become focused on success. But staying grounded in gratitude and dependence on God will keep you aligned with His purpose. There is also a deeper trust developing within you. As you see God's hand in the details, your confidence in His plan grows stronger. You begin to worry less and trust more. Even when challenges arise, and they will, you approach them differently. You no longer see them as setbacks, but as part of the process. Alignment doesn't mean perfection. It means direction. You are stepping into a season where things make sense, where effort meets opportunity, where preparation meets purpose. This is not luck, it is alignment. And as you continue to move forward, remember this: what is aligning in your life right now is only the beginning. God is setting the stage for something far greater than you can currently see. So stay faithful, stay attentive, stay grounded. Because the opportunities and connections aligning around you are evidence that you are stepping into a season of abundance. And this time, it's not temporary, it's intentional, it's divine.